Representatives Nolan and Watson, you are recognized to introduce the Veteran of the Week.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and members. It's a wonderful honor for me to have the opportunity to introduce you to the Veteran of the Week, Rex Lee. Rex not only, this is Rex right behind me, come over here. Rex not only served our country, but he also continues to serve as a servant leader in the community and also in our district. And he's an incredible man. But of course, you know, behind every good man, there's a woman. And so this is Rex's wife, Debbie Lee, and they've been married for 42 years. Debbie was a first grade teacher in our district for 34 years. They have impacted countless families, not only in the district and in our community, but I mean, the people they've impacted have continued to impact other people. It's amazing. This is their daughter, Danielle. It's so wonderful to have her today. Now, Danielle's daughter, Victoria, is very good friends with my granddaughter, Tinley. So we're all connected. But with that being said, it's just wonderful to have all of them here. Now, Representative Watson is their Sunday school teacher. And so the first time that I went and knocked on their door and they found out that I was going to run for the State House, they said, "Oh, do you know Representative Watson?" And the first thing I heard out of their mouths is how great he was, what a wonderful Sunday school teacher he was, and that as soon as I got up here, I needed to meet him. So then the next time I saw them, they were like, "Did you meet him? Did you know?" So anyway, with that being said, he's got some stories that he would like to share with you about Rex as well.
Representative Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rex Lee is a Vietnam veteran. That's the war of my generation. That was an ugly war. I guess you could say every war is an ugly war, but that was an unpopular war. My brother, who served during that period of time, did not serve in combat. He served in the Pentagon, and I can remember him coming home one weekend, and he went through Chicago. And as he went through that airport, there were some war protesters there, and he saw them spit on men in uniform. The Vietnam vet came back with a lot of problems and not a whole lot of love and appreciation and honor. Those of us who were there remember that. I can remember, Rex, you probably don't remember this, but it was more than 20 years ago that Rex told me that the homeless living under our bridges in Tulsa County, a good majority of them were Vietnam vets. And the reason Rex knew that is because he was out there. He was with them. He was working under those bridges with those guys who oftentimes just really were at a loss, suffering from PTSD. I never realized at the time that some years later I would have a son who came back from Iraq suffering from PTSD, and he is 80% disabled. His best friend is Rex Lee. Rex is there with him. A combat vet, there's something about a combat vet that brings peace to those suffering with PTSD. Rex, I want you to know that these people out here, we have one of every 37,000 people on the floor of this house. You cannot go any place in the world and get closer to the people of Oklahoma than on the floor of this house. And Rex, I can tell you that every one of them, I know them all, some better than others, but every one of them loves, respects, and honors you for your service. And they are delighted, as Representative Representative Nolan and I both share the honor that we have to have you here as our Veteran of the Week. And Mr. Speaker, if you would, have the clerk read the citation.
Clerk will read the citation.
Whereas Rex J. Lee is a resident of House District 66 in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and proudly served our country for 4 years in the United States Army, retiring with the rank of SP5 in the United States Army Security Agency. And whereas after entering the United States Army on January 19, 1968, Rex J. Lee was deployed to Vietnam from 1968 to 1969, to Cuma Station Chitose, Japan from 1969 to 1971, and to Fort Hood, Texas in 1971. And whereas Rex J. Lee earned a top-secret crypto clearance and was responsible for a worldwide monitoring and forwarding of classified information to the National Security Agency during his tour of duty. And whereas Rex J. Lee distinguished himself in his service to our country and has been decorated with numerous medals, badges, commendations, citations, campaign ribbons, certificates, and awards, which include the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal with 4 Bronze Service Stars, the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Expert Rifle Award. And whereas Rex J. Lee not only has exemplary military and civilian achievements, he has also served his community through the Light for the Lost, Veterans with a Future, ministering at an Indian camp in western Oklahoma, as missions director at his church, and on mission trips to 16 countries, as a mentor for the Tulsa Veterans Drug Court, as a certified counselor to veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and their families, ministering to those in crisis, hurting, and the hopeless, as a certified suicide prevention counselor, ministering to veterans of all wars, and specifically to veterans of the Vietnam War, traveling back to the country 4 times with veterans for a time of healing and reconciliation. And whereas the Oklahoma House of Representatives during the second session of the Oklahoma's 56th legislature wishes to express its most sincere respect and appreciation for your extraordinary devotion and service to your community, state, and nation that takes great pride in honoring you as Veteran of the Week on February 12, 2018. Now, therefore, pursuant to the motion of Representative Weldon Watson and Representative J.D. Nolan, the Oklahoma House of Representatives extends to Rex J. Lee sincere congratulations and directs that this citation be presented on this 12th day of February, 2018.
Okay, thank you, members. Mr. Speaker, would it be okay if Rex Lee said a few words?
Many of the younger people will ask me over and over, I guess the greatest question they ever ask is, would you do it again? And I say, yes, I'd do it again. But I'd put in for Hawaii or the Cayman Islands, someplace a little bit nicer than what I ended up getting to go. And but to me, my greatest contribution while I was in the service was putting the first little pair of sandals on a child at an orphanage in Vietnam. That none of them had shoes. And my first visit, I wrote home and asked them to start sending me children's shoes and clothes. And that's where we take them all every month. But I had no idea until a few years ago, I found a picture of me putting those shoes on that kid. But my mind goes like this. I wonder if he became a shoe salesman, or what did he end up doing? What contribution did I have to him? And so that was great. But I think as a veteran, the greatest thing could ever happen is to serve God and your country at the same time. I don't think there's nothing greater. Thank you for today.
So, Rex, this is a citation for you, and then we also have a flag that's been flown over the state capitol,
Thank you.
and a certification that it has been flown over the state capitol. We just want to thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
You know, you make our world a better place, and people like you and your family. And at this time, we're going to ask that you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Members and those in the gallery, please rise as you're able. Mr. Lee, you are recognized to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America